Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, bitter chocolate. Ghana pays its cocoa farmers less for their beans amidst a nosedive in global demand and prices across the industry, essential to so many of the world's sweet treats. Also, Nigeria's jailed Chinese directors for 46 years after they employ hundreds to work for their international cyber crimes ring, a case that is part of a growing problem of foreign exploitation. And bearing the Berber flame aloft, Tunisia's Amazigh communities ramp up the cultivation of generations of heritage. But first, Ghana's cocoa industry sneezes and the world's chocolate freezes. Farmers in the world's second biggest cocoa producer are struggling to digest news that the amount that they'll be paid for their precious crop will be dropping. The government says that they'll have to take the hit as they change up the way that they settle invoices amidst a year of turbulence that's left thousands of farmers unpaid. Our Justice Baidu talks us through.
Ghana is now going to reduce its farm gate price for the cocoa beans from around 4,500 euros that it currently sells to a little over 3,000 euros per ton. The farm gate price is the price that farmers get paid for the bags of cocoa that they sell to the government. This is not a Ghana-only problem. In Ghana's next-door neighbor, Ivory Coast, which is also the world's leading producer of the crop, farmers have been left frustrated across the country as the government has been unable to buy off many bags of cocoa beans that are getting rotten on farms. And all of this is because of the collapse in the price of the cocoa beans on the world market. It has fallen from around 8,500 euros that was recorded at the beginning of the 2025 farming season to under 5,000 euros now. Farmers are left fuming.
We reinvested the money we made from our first harvest, only for the government to fail in paying us for the subsequent harvest. We're really suffering. This wasn't what the government promised us when they came to power.
We are giving the government till Friday if they want to reduce the farm gate price. They should tell us so that the licensed buying companies and purchasing clerks who have money will buy our cocoa from us.
Governments in cocoa-producing countries in West Africa are now walking a tight rope. Maintain the current buying price and risk a collapse of the industry, or reduce it and incur the wrath of farmers. Ghana's Finance Minister KCL Atuforsen said at a press conference this morning that apart from the world market price, exchange rate differentials and the dire financial straits that Cocoa Board, the industry regulator and buyer, currently finds itself, is a reason why these measures are necessary now. Increment in cocoa prices was a big issue in the campaign for Ghana's election in 2024, and this current government that won the election was heavy on increasing the price for farmers. It now has farmers to deal with.
Breakdown there with Justice Baidu. Now, Nigeria has handed out a 46-year jail sentence to two Chinese directors convicted of running an international cyber crimes company from the country. The pair had around 800 people working for them in a case that's part of a growing problem of foreign criminals setting up and exploiting Nigerian youth in meticulously orchestrated e-fraud operations. Samuel Okoye with more.
The convicted Chinese nationals pleaded guilty to a 7-count charge bordering on cyber terrorism, internet fraud, and money laundering of more than 4 million euros in local and foreign currencies. They were directors of Gentil International. The Lagos-based company recruited hundreds of young Nigerians to falsely pose as foreign nationals online and thereafter defraud victims through cryptocurrency investment scams and romance fraud. The company targeted people mainly in Europe and the United States. The two directors, together with 792 suspected fraudsters, were arrested in December 2024. More than 200 of those arrested are Asians. Several Asians, mostly Chinese, have been arrested for similarly running companies which recruit and train Nigerian youths to perpetrate cyber fraud. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons says there is now a new dimension with young Nigerians having computer and IT skills being trafficked to Asia, where they are compelled to engage in romance scams, cryptocurrency fraud, and fake investment schemes. Adetoanse Adenle, who runs the Slum Art Foundation, a poverty alleviation initiative, says poverty has made Nigerian youths vulnerable.
A lot of unemployed youth in Nigeria face hardship. Imagine a youth graduates from Nigeria for over 5 years without meaningful job. This makes them financially pressured, and obviously they become vulnerable to multiple job scams and fraudulent job opportunities, and that's the big issue we face in Nigeria.
With more Nigerians entering a job market that is shrinking due to a harsh economy, Nigerian youths are likely to remain vulnerable to foreigners who want to use them to perpetrate crime.
Olakoya there. Now, it's been a tough year for South Africa on the regional and international stage, but in Thursday's annual flagship address to the continent's top economy, President Cyril Ramaphosa promised to ramp up investment and better spend resources on what's happening at home. Eunice Masson is in Cape Town.
South Africa's parliament has officially opened. President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his State of the Nation address tonight, highlighted South Africa's growing economy, citing the cutting of interest rates, also the removal of South Africa on the grey list. But the major announcement came when he announced that the army would be deployed in the coming days to crime-ridden areas. The president said that the state's priority this year is to fight organized crime. And we've seen this in the pipeline by the country withdrawing its troops from countries such as the DRC and also from Mozambique, which mounted to about 700 soldiers back in South Africa to fight this crime. In his speech tonight, he said that the focus would be on gangsterism and illegal mining. We do ask questions such as the budget for this deployment. Will the army have the equipment it needs, and also are the soldiers trained to do what they need to do? But for now, this brings hope for many communities who are ridden with crime.
Quick look at some news in brief now. At least 38 people lost their lives in the Madagascan city of Tunisia after this week's devastating cyclone. More than 12,000 people were forced from their homes around the coastal city, and the government's called for the international community to rally around in support of the country's emergency response. Kenya's border with Somalia will reopen in April, 15 years after it was closed because of the risk of attacks from al-Shabaab extremists. Several previous attempts to settle on a reopening date were reversed over the years or stalled because of continuing security problems. The neighbours share a 680-kilometre long frontier. And Kenya says that it would be on board if the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations was to be postponed. Along with Uganda and Tanzania, it's a co-host of the footballing tournament, but concerns have been raised that the trio aren't likely to be ready in time and that the event might have to be pushed to 2028. Well, many members of Tunisia's Amazigh community fear that generations of discrimination risk strangling their unique culture. Many are pushing to revive the sights, sounds and tastes of an indigenous heritage that dates back through hundreds of years on the continent. Our team tell us more.
Tunisian Noura Ghariani and her band serenade their audience with a program that combines Arabic with lyrics and melodies from Amazigh culture, tied together with a few rock riffs for good measure.
My mother is a painter and she made paintings with Amazigh themes, so she inspired me at a certain point.
Through her songs, Noura is returning to her roots, to values and symbols of an ancient Amazigh culture that is often forgotten or neglected. Today, only 10% of Tunisia's population identify as Amazigh.
We take on themes about nature, agriculture, Amazigh symbols, which have many meanings relating to being human to our existence and our land.
Many would like to see this heritage given more recognition.
It's important because it's part of us, of our identity, of our culture. It needs to be appreciated more.
Although Amazigh culture is most associated with Tunisia's far south, there are also Amazigh villages in the Cap Bon region, like here in Sidi Jdidi in Hammamet. Tir and his son restored the ruins of their ancestors' village.
So the roof is made of straw, mixed with earth and chalk, supported by bamboo, which rests on pine wood.
On the walls are traditional Amazigh symbols made from henna and cloves. Here, amidst the mountains, Tir and his son want to develop agro-tourism to promote their culture.
What size of sieve are you using?
The small one.
We prepare couscous with hard wheat, of course. Since we grow wheat and barley on our land, culinary heritage is very important for Berbers or Amazigh because it passes down from one generation to the next. And it's what we're trying to preserve.
He took over the family estate several years ago and now works in tourism, trying to preserve local heritage.
Beautiful. That's it, though, for Eye on Africa. Thanks very much for joining us, though, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.